Today, in the small town of Delphi, Indiana, Richard Allen found guilty on all charges for the murders of Abigail Williams and Libby German.
Once that first verdict was read of guilty, there was an audible reaction from Libby and Abby's family. Someone said the word yes. Allen himself just stared stoically ahead and gave no reaction at all to any of the verdicts.
The teen girls were found brutally murdered back in 2017 in the woods, the day after going missing. Now, after nearly 8 years and 17 days of heartbreaking and sometimes graphic testimony, the girls' families finally getting closure.
In a way, there is some sort of absolute relief. Yes, like this is happening. But you mourn again. That laughter, that hole in that house, that emptiness isn't coming back.
The jury deliberating for just over 3 days, agreeing with the state's case that Richard Allen is the so-called bridge guy, seen in this video taken on Libby's phone just before they went missing. Finding Allen guilty of 2 counts of murder while attempting kidnapping and 2 counts of murder for knowingly killing Abby and Libby. The 12 jurors rejected the defense's strategy that Allen's 60-plus confessions were false and only made after his mental health spiraled while being held in solitary confinement.
Confessions are a big thing. The jury really hangs their hat on when someone says, I committed a crime. And I can tell you in the decade plus of experience I've had, I've never reported on or even represented a person who has confessed over 60 times.
I believe Richard Allen. I think that he was the evidence we needed.
The Delphi murders have captivated armchair experts for years before Richard Allen was ever publicly connected to the case.
This is the unsolved murder of Abigail Williams and Libby German. There was obvious blood around this tree.
Are you guys following the Delphi case? Because I'm about to lose my mind.
In 2017, 2 teen girls went out for a walk in a small town in Indiana.
I think in 2017, Delphi was the safest place any of us felt like we could be. We would leave our doors unlocked. We didn't have security systems.
Abby and Libby went out for a hike on a local trail, but when Libby's father went to pick them up, they were nowhere to be found.
Becky tried to call, and she said, hey, we're not can't get a hold of Libby. I said, all right, let me pack up here, and I'll head that way. Just walking up and down trails, trying to look and hollering and yelling.
Everyone was out looking for these young girls. But you still had hope, you know?
Then, a full day later, the search party made a disturbing discovery. The girls were killed, their throats slashed.
This is considered a double homicide investigation. No further information will be released at this time.
According to the investigators, he killed them within 20 minutes. And according to a blood expert, Abby was forced to put on Libby's clothes before she was murdered. So Libby's naked. But what happened between the guy on the bridge on Libby's phone saying, guys down the hill, they go down the hill. What interrupted him?
Investigators, desperate for leads, asked the public if they were on the bridge that day to report what they saw. And Richard Allen himself called them to say he was there. Police circulated bits and pieces of evidence with 2 different sketches and that video and audio taken from Libby's phone.
This young lady's a hero, there's no doubt. To have enough presence of mind to activate the video system on her cell phone to record what we believe is criminal behavior that is about to occur.
When people saw the image, then it was, is it you? You have a beard. Are you the guy? Are you the guy?
He looks exactly like every single person in Indiana. He's wearing the clothes that everybody here wears, everywhere around us wears.
We have his face, his voice, his image, the way he walks, what he sounds like, and still no one's in custody. Why can't they get this guy?
Rumors and theories swirled for years until a surprise break in the case led police right to Richard Allen.
When Richard Allen first called the tip line, he was recorded with the wrong name. His last name and his street name were transposed. Initially, it was filed away. Nobody thought anything of it until it was discovered 5 years later and brought to the attention of the sheriff when that investigation was still continuing in 2022.
Authorities raid Allen's home, where they find a blue jacket, which they say is similar to the one Bridge Guy was wearing.
Richard Allen owns a navy blue Carhartt jacket, similar to the one that appears to be what Bridge Guy is wearing. He also had some work boots and a stocking cap.
And they find a Sig Sauer handgun, which authorities say matched an unspent bullet round found at the scene of the crime.
And that bullet was the same kind that would have been used in the gun found at Richard Allen's home. That was just another clue that police thought potentially could have connected him to the crime.
And then
a twist in a shocking crime story that's captivated so many for years. Police are revealing today the arrest of a 50-year-old suspect who seemed to be hiding in plain sight.
There is a major break in a double homicide in Delphi. The man is now under arrest for the murder of 2 teenage girls.
Police arrest Richard Allen in October 2022 and charge him with the murders of Abby and Libby.
God has provided us with justice for Abby and Libby.
The 52-year-old is a husband, a father, and known around Delphi, Indiana. Some evidence at trial raising more questions than answers.
The large part of their argument is that Richard Allen confessed over 60 times to wardens, inmates, family members, almost anyone who would listen within this prison and jailhouse setting.
He had a conversation, for example, where he asks his wife, "I did it, Kathy, I did it. Do you still love me?"
But Allen's defense trying to poke holes in the prosecution's case.
We heard from his psychologist who testified as to what a decline he had, and some of the behaviors that he displayed in prison were alarming. He was naked a lot, he was rolling around on the floor, he was eating paper, he was drinking from his toilet. All of these things, they say, were proof that he was really suffering mentally and entering psychosis, including at the time when he was admitting to these crimes.
In an unusual filing prior to trial, Allen's team was looking to take the case in an entirely different direction, pinning the double murder on a mysterious group, what they are calling a white supremacist cult of Odinism.
My first response to that was, I was sort of baffled by that.
Central to their argument, the idea that the girls' bodies were found in unusual positions, with branches over them, which the defense argues were actually pagan runes, symbols that have mysterious significance.
So runes are widely incorporated into Odinist culture as well. So if there were runes in the crime scene, then that would be a reason to suspect pagan or Odinist involvement. So for instance, the sticks over the body, possibly a rune mark on a tree. It's not convincing to me as someone who's studied these religions, but it provides an interpretation of some of the details of the crime scene. At no point have we really seen the idea of ritual human sacrifice. This did not make any sense to me at all.
But Judge Francis Gall wouldn't allow this defense to be presented in court, setting the stage for the defense to appeal Allen's conviction.
I'm kind of hesitant to say that this is the final chapter of Richard Allen. I think if anything, this is the first chapter, and we're going to hear a lot about this case in terms of what the defense was not able to argue and how certain evidence wasn't presented to the jury.
Still, the small community of Delphi breathing a collective sigh of relief tonight.
So what does today mean for you?
Today, for me, major healing for this community.
Richard Allen now awaits his sentencing on December 20th. He faces a maximum of 130 years in prison. And for family and friends of Abby and Libby, this painful chapter is now over.
I think it allows them to continue living, to get out of this stagnant place where they are now. They always said we'll be there every single day. It was 67 plus witnesses, 375 pieces of evidence, day after day after day after day. What they did say to me, it doesn't bring the girls back. To us, there's no such thing as justice, and the grief never goes away.